This is Plant-Based Briefing. Is veganism elitist? No, and here's why, by Mary Clifford Brewer at Main Street Vegan Academy at mainstreetvegan.com. And I'm Marian Erickson. This is the Plant-Based Podcast where I curate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living, get permission, and narrate them to you here in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And I'm pleased to have permission from Main Street Vegan Academy to share their content. So now let's get to today's Plant-Based Briefing. Is veganism elitist? No, and here's why, by Mary Clifford Brewer at mainstreetvegan.com. I hear it often, and I'm sure many of us have been accused of it at some point. Veganism is for rich people. I can't afford that food. It's easy to understand why it can look that way. How many lists of famous vegans have you seen composed solely of multimillionaire movie stars and elite athletes, often having private chefs? When the loudest vegan messaging leans on Western ideals and ignores the rich history of traditional plant-based diets, it can feel colonial, tone-deaf, and out of reach. But that's not veganism, that's marketing. So where does the idea of veganism as elitist come from? Largely from two places. One, commercialization of vegan products. Frozen vegan burgers, artisan nut cheeses, and almond milk lattes, these can be additions, but they're not the foundation of veganism. They're optional extras often marketed to affluent audiences. The reality is that beans, rice, lentils, seasonal vegetables, corn, oats, and other staples have fueled plant-based diets around the world for centuries. These foods are inexpensive, filling, and widely accessible. And number two, barriers to access. Food deserts, systemic poverty, and inequitable food systems make healthy eating harder for everyone, vegan or not. These are structural problems, not proof that veganism itself is elitist. In fact, many grassroots organizations in low-income communities are reclaiming traditional plant-based foods as tools of empowerment and resilience. When we separate veganism from consumer culture and look at it through a justice lens, it becomes clear that the issue isn't elitism, it's inequality. The true cost. Real veganism doesn't require $10 dragon fruit smoothies or jackfruit tacos. It isn't a gated club for the privileged. It's a principle, doing our best to avoid causing harm to animals, people, and the planet. And it's a principle that has been practiced for centuries. Long before the word vegan existed, people in villages, towns, and cities lived on grains, beans, nuts, vegetables, and fruits because that was what was local, affordable, and sustainable. Meals came from the garden, the market, or the season, not halfway around the world for a curated aesthetic. This way of eating wasn't about exclusivity, it was about resourcefulness, respect, and survival. It was, and still is, about making the most of what you have while treading lightly on the earth. Beans, rice, lentils, greens, nuts, potatoes, these foods have sustained entire cultures for generations. Think of Caribbean rice and peas, Indian dal, or southern collard greens with cornbread. The backbone of traditional diets across the world is plant-based, accessible, and affordable. This isn't new or trendy, it's just food. Far from being a privileged lifestyle, veganism can be an act of solidarity. Industrial animal agriculture doesn't just exploit animals, it exploits people too, especially slaughterhouse workers in dangerous, low-paying jobs. And its role in driving climate change falls hardest on low-income and marginalized communities. So when people call veganism elitist, what they're really reacting to is a version shaped by consumer culture. Strip away the branding, and what is left is something profoundly accessible, a way of eating that seeks to do the least harm and invites everyone to the table. You just listened to Is Veganism Elitist? No, and here's why, by Mary Clifford Brewer at Main Street Vegan Academy at mainstreetvegan.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. I've done a number of episodes on so many of these topics. Wherever you listen, use the search field and enter topics that you're interested in learning more about, whether it's slaughterhouse workers or climate change. You can also use the search field at plantbasedbriefing.com episodes to find those. And regarding the barriers to access and inequitable food systems and food deserts, you might want to check out a documentary called They're Trying to Kill Us. It's really good touching on many of these topics, so please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.